Well, here we are. This is at Midgee View, and these are the cattle yards at Midgee View. Now that'll handle about 120 head of cattle at one time. There's a little shed there, as you can see, a wagon and a lean-to for hay and saddles and that sort of thing. There's no homestead on the property, but very well set up as far as for grazing and so forth. But in there you've got a crush, loading ramp, no branding cradle, but as I say, the yard will handle about 120 head of cattle. Just looking here by a little dam here just near the yard. It's just been built, and then this is a laneway heading back down towards the back of the block, or down the side, running along the side of the highway, up to the yards. Now, boys, just looking here now, we're at the top end of the lane where you come into the lane, and looking back up, the yards are up there. I'll just zoom up a little bit there and give you a look at what I'm talking about. There's the yards up there. You can see them up there in the little shed and everything. And then coming back away from there, then we've got this nice big, it's a grey box flat, good heavy soil, and that could be tidied up and you could plant bambats here, any of those sort of grass in there, do very well, good heavy country. And I'll just come back a little bit here now, and so you can see what I'm saying, and you go back, and that ridge you see in the distance, that's not all in the place, but some of that ridge is in the property. Just a bit of a continuation of that box flat, buyers, just looking back out of the car, and you can see back across there, and just zooming up a little bit of regrowth down through there, but very little. But the main part of it is that as you can see, it's a good big flat. I'd say that flat would pretty much take up a good 2/3 of the property, and very good, a very great piece of country to plant pasture for cattle. But this property is a good investment property as well, so you wouldn't be buying it just for the cattle side of things. Well, I just want to show you here the Gabriel Creek. There's the creek I'm going to show you here as we come around. That's that tree line you see over there. And Gabriel Creek is basically the boundary of this block, but the boundary fence runs on one side some of the creek, and on this side, on the other side, some of the creek, and on this side for some of the creek as well, to give each of the neighbours some access to the creek. Now the creek runs permanently pretty much all year round, but it does in a dry year come back to holes, and at the moment that's the way it is. It's been a bit dry this year, so it's come back to a couple of holes, but those holes remain permanent for the rest of the year. Now just going back here, once again looking back across that flat that I've been telling you about, showing you all the way along. I'll give you a better once again, just looking at that flat that we're talking about. This country here would as I say, would suit a lot of good pasture purposes. There's many pastures that would do well here, pondage included. Good heavy soil. Now, boys, just looking at this here, the area that we're looking at just here now, this is around 40 acres. It's in different paddocks. There's 5 and 10 acre paddocks, but this was all farmed and irrigated out of the creek. The vendor grew lucerne here, had around about 10 acres of lucerne, as well as he grew other crops as well, and baled, and also grew small crops. So the place has got a little bit of mixture of everything kind of to work through, but definitely a good little cultivation area. 40 acres it can be cultivated, but also a portion of it can be irrigated as well. Now, buyers, you can see here, look at the bone and the frame of these cattle, and you can see that they've been on this country right through the year. The cattle do well in the country, and as all the winners have been taken off, and they've all been doing real well out of it. Lovely line of cattle, good bone cows. They all look very well. Once again, just taking a look back up along that flat there, and back up that little bit of ridge back over there. Just looking at this little patch of country here, and we're back down along the creek again here, and once again the Gabriel Creek is the boundary, but this little piece of country here, as you can see, it's all melon hole type country, and once again, as I said before, there's room for pondage in this block, and there could be quite a lot of pondage actually set up and give this place a much greater carrying capacity. Well, I was just showing you here the little ridge just there runs up off those flats. The majority, I said before, probably about 2/3 of the place is that flat country, I'd say it's a little bit more actually, but anyhow, buyers can look at it and decide what they think themselves, but then it runs back down and then you're looking back across those flats again, back out to the front of the block from here.